So Teddy Bridgewater has agreed to go to the Panthers, kind of. I mean, I guess it's not an official deal, but it seems like it's pretty official. Both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport have tweeted out that they plan on signing together, plan on making a deal with about a 3-year contract in the $60 million range, but it has not been done at this point, but it is expected to be complete once the league opens on Wednesday. So yeah, kind of an interesting move. I mean, I think we all thought that Bridgewater was going to go some other places, so it's a little surprising. Also, the 3-year thing is a bit interesting. I'm going to guess that it's going to be one of those deals that's like a 3-year deal, but they can easily cut him after 1 year or at least after 2 years. So that's probably what'll happen. So very interesting move, I think. I'm also a bit surprised just because it looked to me like the Carolina Panthers were going to be rebuilding heading into 2020. They let Bradbury walk. I'll definitely make a video on him. They let a very good corner walk who is always great at shutting down some of the best receivers in their division, and they've got a lot of good receivers in their division. I mean, every time they have a divisional matchup, they're going up against Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, or Mike Evans, so not the easiest division to let your number one corner walk in. So going out to get a quarterback, a little bit interesting. But that being said, getting Teddy, I mean, this has the opportunity to be a bit of a steal. It really does. And I do think that, it's not a terrible situation either for Bridgewater. So I like this move. I really do. I think that you're getting a very solid, proven player who can perform. I mean, listen, this is a guy who should have won a playoff game if it wasn't for Blair Walsh completely whiffing on like a 25-yard field goal or whatever it was. So I do think that Bridgewater is good. He knows how to win, obviously. I mean, what does that really mean? But he's shown that he can play well. And so I do think this is a good deal, and it can be a good value deal, assuming that the numbers are correct, that it's going to be around $20 million a year. Also, one thing of note is that he's going to be working with the new Panthers offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. So, very interesting stuff. They work together in New Orleans. So, I find this, I think it's a good move. And I think that the Carolina Panthers are smart by going out and getting Teddy Bridgewater, a guy who can absolutely perform. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Bridgewater just contract in general. But now I want to talk about what are my thoughts on just the fact that Teddy Bridgewater is a pretty good player. How do I feel about Bridgewater in general? And so I'll get into the film study. We'll start things off with this play. This is going to be a cover 3 zone that Tampa Bay is in. And so for Teddy Bridgewater, he has Jared Cook running that route right there. It will get into a gap in coverage, so this is definitely a route that he's going to look to throw this ball to once the ball is snapped. But again, what I love about Teddy Bridgewater is his timing. It seems like he times these throws so perfectly, even better than he did when he was in Minnesota, and he was pretty good at it in Minnesota. So right when the ball is snapped, you notice that there is a Tampa Bay player who is in front of Cook, who, if Teddy Bridgewater were to make this throw right now, obviously it would be an interception. But if you look at him, he's already in the throwing motion because he's going to time this one exactly perfectly. The second Cook is open, the ball gets to him. I mean, that's just, you can't ask for anything better than that. Anything earlier, it would have been intercepted, and anything later, potentially another Tampa Bay player could have ran over and knocked the ball away. It's actually something that gets talked about relatively frequently. For a quarterback, you don't want to hesitate. You want to make the throw exactly when you can make the throw, and I do feel like Bridgewater does a very good job of that. The second he has an opening, he's going to fit the ball through that opening, which is a very important thing for a quarterback to do. Like this play is another example where it's going to be a cover 1 blitz, and again, it's going to be Jared Cook. He's running just a quick route right over there, so this route could get open. It's actually pretty good because it's going to cut to the inside. It's going to be hard for a defensive back to get in front of Cook. You don't want to just jump in front of that route, even if you're pretty sure that's what Cook is doing, because then if Cook ends up running to the top half of the screen, he would get completely wide open. So you pretty much have to give him a little bit of space, and Cook with that space can probably get open. And in fact, very early on, before he even cuts, Bridgewater knows at this point that, look at him. He's again getting ready to make this throw because he realizes this is going to get open. It's just he realizes that since Cook is bigger, since Cook is already getting ready to cut in, and there's already enough space, Cook is going to get open, and this is a throw that Bridgewater should make. There is a small chance of it not working out, but it does work out. He also makes a very accurate throw, and if he didn't make that throw that early, that's an incompletion at best. That could be an interception. It's definitely not a touchdown. But because he timed that one so perfectly, that's what allowed them to get into the end zone. And again, timing is one of those things where it's something that doesn't get talked about a ton when people evaluate quarterbacks, but it's really just a huge thing. I mean, being able to time those throws is the difference between interceptions and touchdowns. It really is. It's the difference between good quarterbacks and great quarterbacks. Sometimes it's the difference between great quarterbacks and bad quarterbacks. So being able to do that, I just think it has so much value, in my opinion. I really do feel that way. Now, it's worth mentioning, Teddy Bridgewater is not a perfect player, I mean, I think he's very good. He definitely fits that game manager stereotype very well of, he is the kind of guy who he might not have the biggest arm, but he does the little things right. He'll make those short to medium range throws very well. That's how the New Orleans Saints did go 5-0 with him as a starter, although they lost to the Rams when he came in relief, but hard to really blame him. It's hard to come in cold and play well off the bench. But anyways, one thing that is kind of a flaw is I do feel like he's kind of always been afraid to take on contact. Some people might think this is because of the injury that happened where he missed 2 full seasons, but quite frankly, I think he was kind of afraid of just having contact even before the injury, but especially after. I mean, take a look at this play, for example. It's going to be a man coverage play, and so the sidelines are going to be open right here. He has a receiver running that route right there, and that receiver is Michael Thomas. So definitely this is a throw that Bridgewater wants to make. I mean, hitting your best receiver who is going to probably get open. It's a pretty good route against man coverage. It's something that he likes, and after the ball is snapped, you look and Thomas is just doing a great job. He's doing Michael Thomas things. He's going to get open towards the sideline on the top half of the screen. But again, the problem right now is that there is pressure. You look at that Jacksonville player right there. He is getting very close to Bridgewater. He can potentially lay a hit on Bridgewater. But at the same time, Bridgewater has a guy open. And, a lot of coaches would say, step into this, make a throw in that direction, hope that Michael Thomas makes the play, because he is open. But Bridgewater kind of throws it off his back foot and throws it away because he was afraid of getting hit right there, which on one hand, that's how you stay healthy, and that's how you can play a 16-game season or a 17-game season coming up soon. But at the same time, it's just the kind of thing where, it never sits right when you see somebody do that, even though you do understand that he probably has more value in doing that than getting himself hurt and now having the Saints have to have Taysom Hill be their all-time quarterback. Although, Hill probably could have been very good too, but I'm just saying, it definitely, you have to keep yourself healthy. I understand it, but at the same time, don't love it. And maybe I shouldn't even say I don't love it. It's something that is a way that he plays that other coaches might not love. That's just the way I feel about it. But moving on, one thing that definitely gets criticized with Bridgewater and is fair is he doesn't throw the ball deep very well. I mean, this play, it's going to be a cover 2 man, so to have a receiver running that route right there can get open against this type of coverage. There are 2 safeties deep, but it still can get open here. And also worth mentioning the situation right here. What's happening is that this is a 3rd down and 12, so basically Bridgewater has to throw the ball deep if they're going to have a chance to make this play work. And as you see, right when the ball is snapped, you look at Ted Ginn, and, he's about getting ready to cut. He could potentially get open, but Bridgewater, I mean, this throw is just not going to work. It's a little bit tough to tell. There's actually a chance that Bridgewater just messed up the timing of this throw. I'm not sure if he just missed it or if he thought that the cut was going to happen later. So there is that kind of X factor, but either way, again, as I always mention, I don't just pull one play out in isolation. I don't cherry pick plays. Everything I'll show you is an example of something I've seen multiple times throughout somebody's career. Bridgewater is not the best deep ball player. He's not atrocious at it. He can throw the ball deep here and there, but really he excels at those short range throws or even medium range throws. He can throw the ball 10, 15 yards down the field, but he's not exactly someone you want throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. So yeah, that's my thoughts on both of this decision, this signing, and also just how I think Teddy Bridgewater is as a player. As a whole, I like Bridgewater. I do. I think he's good. He has his flaws, but you know what? Most quarterbacks have their flaws. You're not going to get a Patrick Mahomes through free agency. So, that's just what I think. like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.